Before you judge yourself for feeling unmotivated, consider this. I'm Brian Ford. Welcome to Self-Improvement Daily. Just because I talk about all things high performance, self-improvement, and life optimization doesn't mean that I'm immune to the realities of it. I'm proud of the systems and structure I've created for myself, but that does not mean I'm perfect. In fact, last week, I had a rather unmotivated week, and here's what I learned from it. I think the main factor is that I was in a different environment. I was visiting my family in Northern California and staying at my grandma's house. It's a beautiful space with family photos and relics everywhere, but my work setup wasn't ideal. My workouts were less dialed in, and all things considered, it made taking action a little harder than usual. That, plus I'm currently in a season where I'm seeking more clarity. So not feeling like doing things combined with not knowing what to do. It's no surprise that I wasn't as motivated to do any of it. I noticed I felt this way on the Monday when I had 3 hours carved out to do business planning to fill in gaps in my clarity. But after staring at a blank screen for most of that time, not knowing what I wanted to do, I called it quits. The next day I had more calls booked and direct engagements, but in between I couldn't get into a rhythm. I was still feeling the drag of low motivation, and it made for another low impact day. With more self-awareness, I felt into what I needed. I noticed that part of the problem was the urgency I was trying to operate with. I didn't want to waste time, so I was putting pressure on making the most of it, but that only compounded the problem. So, I was intentional about creating more space for myself. I drew out my morning routine so I didn't feel like I was in a hurry, just had a slower start to the day, and naturally it pulled me into the energy of wanting to do work. There were certain tasks that I felt like doing that I allowed myself to step into. And once I got started and felt on task, the rest of the day and week flowed from there. All this to say, it's frustrating to not feel motivated, especially when you have big ambitions, committed goals, and so many things you need to do. But don't take it personally. Know that the way you show up is largely influenced by your environment. If you're in a season of feeling less energized by your work or less inspired by the content of your day-to-day activities, it's totally normal. Sometimes life can feel stale. Do your best to get to the heart of what you're missing. Prioritize that and let your internal and external environments shift from there. You got this. And even if you feel like you don't, you will soon. Just hang in there. I'm Brian Ford, and you grew today. Let's do it again tomorrow on Self-Improvement Daily.